And so I think that's important to note as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
So, reports?
Yes, reports are in your packets. I won't try to go over each individual one, but I'm happy to take questions on any of them.
Any from the authority that they want further explanation on?
None on this side, no.
Okay, then file, correspond, what's the right terminology? If it's receive and file. It was receive that left me. Receive and file. Thank you.
Okay.
As far as correspondence, I do have a speaker card from Mr. Sullivan on correspondence, but before, just a second, Mr. Sullivan, is there any correspondence that you wanted any comments on before I have Mr. Sullivan come up?
None from the director.
Okay, fine. Mr. Sullivan?
It's actually good timing. It would have gone at the beginning, but anybody going to East County tonight, I'd warn you, the 101 is effectively blocked in Newbury Park. At least it was. It took over an hour to get here. In any event, I'm Mark Sullivan. I represent Airport Properties Limited. And yes, we were the party that did raise a number of questions with the city council and the like over the mitigated negative declaration, which says, as was pointed out, it wasn't a conspiracy theory. It said these were aircraft that were going to use the airport. Mr. Martino just made the statement that really was our major driving concern, specifically a 737-800, if you're going to fly it to Santa Barbara, with fuel for half an hour in a reserve, yeah, you can keep it under 115,000 pounds. But there's no way of enforcing it. And as far as the public's concerned, with the 737 going over, the public isn't going to care whether it's fully fueled or not fully fueled. It's going to have the same negative impact. It is not entirely clear in the JPA, but the intent was clear that the county was thinking maximum takeoff weight. And we would submit that, RKR says they have no intention that, when this becomes a decision item, we would be expecting them and we would expect the DOA to put it into the lease itself that the issue would be maximum takeoff weight, because there's no way to enforce whether an airplane's fully fueled or not. It would be totally an illusory limitation if it was strictly at the discretion of the operator how much fuel he put on board. And as far as the public's concerned, they start seeing 737-800s, that's going to have a deleterious effect in the airport. And by the way, that's what drove my client. He has no interest in serving that market. He doesn't compete in that market, but he has clients who have spent a lot of money building hangars, and they are deathly afraid of this being the next Santa Monica, with having adverse community reaction, and we think the large airplanes would bring it. And we know that's going to come back for discussion, and we'll save that for then. With respect to Director Turner's comment of this being a conspiracy theory, the other thing that prompted the major concern, I would point out to you, is if you look at the letters, my client had me do a number of public records requests about this negative declaration, and letter, which is 9M came to me on October 21st and withheld documents, that they were privileged documents for internal discussion. Well, then I got 9U on November 7th, and it turns out that the privileged documents were the negative declaration. And come to find out that the normally published place was the Camarillo City Library. We would expect a normal notice would have been given at the gates of the airport or the like. The long and the short of it was, we then asked for an extension of the comment period, and that was denied. So we got very nervous with the negative declaration saying what it said, and there being an apparent rush to get the 30 days run, that maybe something was up and the public really hadn't been given adequate notice of it. That's our concern in a nutshell. And like I said, we don't think it's a conspiracy theory. We think the language was such that any prudent person would have responded to it.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no other questions on correspondence, miscellaneous, any authority comments from Oxnard?
I just want to, I'm not sure if our members have any, but I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year that's coming up. I think, what are we, about a week and a half from Christmas, and so I just want to wish, the whole, authority a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I have a question. When it comes to airport security, what, in a nutshell or broadly speaking, how does the airport and/or staff survey and regularly assess security in and around the airport?
We have operations officers that are operations officers, so the officer word sounds like it has more authority than it has. It has very limited authority. It's basically very light citation authority, if anything, as far as security purposes go. But what they do is they work from the hours of 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., to 1 a.m., and they patrol the entire airport at both airports, looking for safety infractions, and they're more focused on safety and the compliance of the airport than anything. If there's a security matter that requires law enforcement, they contact law enforcement. Same with fire. If there's an issue with fire, they contact Ventura County Fire.
When it comes to gates and/or security cameras, and this question is spurred because I got some photographs from from a pilot at the Camarillo airport, and he gave me a picture of a busted camera that was supposed to survey one of the parking lots there, and he was concerned about that. I guess it had been broken for quite a bit of time. I'll share the photo with you after the meeting.
Okay,
I'll send it your way.
Yeah.
But he said he had some concerns about security, particularly cameras, and that he had observed some deficiencies when it came to gating and/or either gates and/or access gates, and that he was concerned about. So I'm following up with him as to what those more specific concerns are in regards to either the fencing and/or the access gates, the ones that roll where you can bring a vehicle in to the airport. But at least when it comes to the security cameras, I'd appreciate if you could double check. I don't know where the security camera is. I just simply have a photo of one that looks like someone took a baseball bat to it. So
Yeah, no, I'm not aware where they all are either, being still relatively new here, but I do know we have security cameras, and I will check on that. That's the first I've heard of an issue with the cameras or with the access gates, so I'm not familiar with anything, but I can talk to staff and figure out what's going on.
okay, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. Number one, I would like to wish Jorge Rubio the very best going forward. When I had questions and he was running the show for a period of time here, very sharp individual. It's a loss to the community, but best of luck to him in the future. But I have a question specifically about this camera. When did the person tell you? And when you do get back to them, please, for me, as a member of this board, ask them why you didn't call the airport authority management.
Right off the bat.
Because I'm curious, is it Camarillo? Is it Oxnard? If there's something else going on, I mean, I don't want to hang my general manager out to dry because somebody didn't tell him who.
No, it was the Camarillo airport.
Okay, okay, but I don't want to hang this guy out to dry because somebody didn't do their job of making a phone call. They got a saying, at least in my city, if you see something, tell somebody something. So tell that pilot for me, please. Thank you.
Just one more time on operations. You say they're off at 1?
They are from 1 to 5.
So 1 to
4-hour
5,
period.
1 to 5 were unmonitored other than whatever TV cameras?
That's correct.
Okay. Susan?
I just wanted to commend you today. You did a great job at the Vista Camarillo Tourism Luncheon. It was at the CAF, and I can't think of the first C, what the word is.
Commemorative.
That. Commemorative, yeah. But it was a nice lunch, and you did a great job talking about the airport and the opportunities, and talking about the planning to start up next week. So you started planting seeds very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, and happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. So I would like to wish everyone then happy holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, and all else. And this authority is now adjourned.